here's the litmus test to see if your job is going to be replaced by AI. Once my grandmother's neighbor is able to have a robot come and fix her printer, then I'll be like, all right, this is it.
Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything tech, from AI to VR, robots to flying cars. I'm Kevin Doyle, and this week I am joined by Paul Bratzlavsky, Sarah Kimmel, and Bobby Davis. One thing, make sure you stick around till the end for our AI-generated weekly theme song. It's a new thing we've added on recent episodes, so make sure you stick around and get this week's theme song, which is about Google AI search. Coming up in this week's episode, xAI raises $6 billion in VC money. Google AI search is wrong a lot. Are we at peak AI hype yet? So we'll have a discussion about where you guys think we are in the AI hype cycle. And then we'll finish up with our null, not null recommendations section. So for our first story here this week, we've talked about this before, but Google has added AI search or AI overview now to the top of their search results. So this is open to everybody now. I've been messing with this for months. Sarah and I have talked about this. Like it's in one of the sections now where you go to Google something and you skip over it. I'm at the point where I'm skipping over it. It's like it's at the top of it's the first result that comes up in Google when you search for something will often be one of these AI overviews. So this is based on Gemini. So Gemini is running in the browser, and when you search for something, the Gemini AI results coming to the top of the page. And here's the problem with that: you're searching for something, AI is the first result you get. We know at this point hallucinations are bad. And we're going to show you some examples of some hallucinations, because this is what this article here is about from The Verge. They promise us a better search experience, but it's telling us to put glue on our pizza. And that's one of the examples that we're going to look at. So here's some things that Google has recommended as when searching for certain things using their AI overview. So this was the glue pizza one. I've seen a few examples of this, but somebody glued, make pizza, cheese a deer. I saw another example that said, how do I make the cheese stick better to my pizza? And you will notice down here that Gemini and Google is saying, add glue to the sauce. Add about about an eighth of a cup of non-toxic Elmer's glue to the sauce and make it tackier and help the cheese stick.
It's non-toxic. It's fine.
I think that's the thing, right? I think that's the thing they're hanging their hat on here is like, well, it's non-toxic, so it'll be okay. So maybe not life-threatening, right? This one's kind of like not so offensive, right? Here's another one. African countries starting with P.
So good. Apparently,
Ivory Coast, Liberia, Libya, Mauritius, all start with a P.
It's a literal language model. How is it missing the P?
It's silent.
Most of these don't even have P anywhere in the name.
Yeah, no. I think you didn't know. Libya, yeah.
On every one of them. Yeah. It's North Libya and Liberia.
I just don't speak any African languages. That's my problem.
No. Here's another fact that it got wrong. I don't know what the prompt was for this one, but according to this, there's been 42 presidents, and 17 of them have been white. And George Washington is the only president who never lived in the White House. I don't know where this stuff even comes from. Like, it's just gibberish, absolute gibberish. This one, they asked how many rocks should you eat. According to a UC Berkeley study, you should apparently just eat one small rock a day.
Obviously.
That'll see you through.
I haven't been eating enough rocks.
Right?
And that explains it.
Perfect. Well, here's the thing. To somebody, that makes sense. So this is the problem, right? This is the problem that we kind of want to highlight, and we should highlight this stuff. These hallucinations, while we think they are, some of them are funny, right? And it's just like, oh, that's stupid. Like, why would you believe that? Firstly, some people will believe it, even for ones that are dumb answers. Secondly, things like this that are like detrimental to health. Like, this is bad stuff. And this isn't like having to go out of your way to search for this stuff. This is top of Google search answers. We know people only read the headlines. They literally read the first thing on here. This is fact for somebody. Somebody will take this and believe it. I guarantee it.
Here's the crazy part about this. This is Google. They have some money, and this is how they implemented it. I mean, I just shared the link to a website called perplexity.ai. I don't know if anyone has used it. Go
familiar.
Type how many rocks I should eat there and see what the response is. They have steps. The way it works, it doesn't just generate random data. It uses actual like resources that it finds online. And so you get way better answer. And the fact that Google couldn't do that is insane. And so look at the response here. You telling me $1 billion company, Google, could not do what these guys are doing? What the are you kidding me? But anyway, this was going to be my not null, but I decided to just because it was relevant. Perplexity, amazing website. Uses there.
Note that it pulled in the same image look, by the way, too. That I was using as an example. So it knows
that's
this
crazy.
exists.
Yeah, but it knew to know that it's not true. It knew to tell you rocks have no nutritional value for humans. Rocks can break your teeth. Rocks may damage your digestive system. Rocks may cause injury when. So
here's why this result came up, though. I did see some study on this, and it's because it was based on an Onion article. And this highlights a bigger problem, right, that we've talked about here. The LLMs have been fed the internet. The internet is at least 50% junk,
50?
if not more, right? If not more. I'm being very, very, very generous. Okay,
and only 2%,
right?
You know,
I say I'm just being very generous with a 50. Let's say 50%, 50% that. We know that it's pulling in that stuff because it's proved that it is. It's showing literal Onion articles, which you know are satire because we know it's from the Onion, but the LLM doesn't. So it's pulling it in as a fact that it's this way, and it's just. I don't know what we do about this. I mean, I guess this implementation's good, and Google's is just bad. So there is ways to fix it.
Yeah,
maybe?
no, I'm sure there's a way to fix it. And I think it's to have there should be a way where you're ranking the source of truth. Like Ground News has they try to show you all the sources where everything is coming from. And I think that's what's going to be the thing in the future. Anything that you see online, if it doesn't have a source of where it came from that you could click and go to, I'm just going to think of it as bullshit, BS. Sorry. Otherwise it's like, how do you gonna know if you can't go to the original source? So the future of search AI, I think Perplexity is doing an amazing job, is where if you scroll down, it shows you all the related source links and where it's getting the information and gives you more stuff. And so it shows sources, and I think that's what Google needs to do.
Yeah.
And then if they wanted to go the extra steps, they should exclude certain sources, like the Onion website or forum. It's come on.
Right.
It just shows you Google has a long way to go.
$1 billion company.
Well, it's a hard problem.
These guys, Perplexity AI, just did it. I know. I'm just.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but for specifically that, but how do you what is the source of truth? There's people who debate all day as to what is true and what is not. There are people that believe the earth is flat.
It's not.
So they see an art. Yeah. I mean, I've got a documentary for you, Paul. It's great. But so who decides what is true and what is not? I mean, I like how Paul's got this example here where it's got the sources, and I'm like, oh, okay, I do believe that source, but I don't believe this source. So
Right.
I can see where it's coming from, and I think that's helpful.
I think what you're describing is what we were taught back in the day in school to kind of especially when we used to write things. It's always do citations, always show your source. And I think that may be lost on the new generation because they're just getting so used to I see it must be true because online. Why would they lie? And I think the future of content will be where anything that you read should have a track of links or resources which point to the original source that you could click on and see, and it should be highlighted pretty obviously that shows hey, this is where it came from. And and I'm sure again, Perplexity, I think they're doing a good job. And I think there's and me being like a programmer, I'm sure there's ways where you could have a wide list of resources that you should never, like scrape for information. Like every YouTube video that you watch, if it's like something that YouTube feels like is an important topic, like the pandemic or the earth is flat or like whatever, they always put like a little note, check your sources. This might not be accurate, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's like something that we need to maybe mandate to highlight on content because, otherwise it's all going to like pollute the internet and we're going to have people that are going to believe like eating rocks and smoking 2-3 cigarettes a day while eating cheesy pizza with cheese and glue.
And leaving your dog in the car.
Leaving your dog in the car will make you a better person, like for sure.
Yeah. Do you think people lack discernment or critical thinking skills? Is that really what's going on here?
Yeah.
Because if I saw that, I wouldn't Google if it's okay to leave my dog in the car. I've sat in a hot car to know that, like, man, it's hot in here.
Yeah.
I need to crack a window.
Yeah.
I
mean,
need to leave my door open for a little while.
Yeah. To be fair, like I would say that I think like people are trying to, because people know that LLMs are not perfect, and so they're trying to kind of exploit it by asking stupid questions.
Do they? Though?
I don't think they do.
Really?
Do they though?
Yeah, really. I think we're in a bubble,
way
Paul.
too much credit. Oh my god, I am even
100%. I think we're in a bubble
more than I wanted to be scared.
No, I totally believe we are in a bubble of understanding that the common person does not know. That's my problem with this. The fact that this AI result is top of page on Google, I don't think people know not to trust it.
Get sued.
Google
That's
it.
exactly what I said.
Google
yes.
is, yeah.
Google
exactly,
is when
Bobby.
somebody dies from eating rocks.
And it will be the European government. They're just waiting.
They are waiting.
They
are waiting. They need their way to find that income.
We spent that last tax money. We got to get some more.
Pay me.
The issue is, this is just a thing. It's an issue with LLMs, right? That I don't think they can solve. And the problem is they're shoving these LLM responses at the top of search. That's the issue. We're going to places like ChatGPT, and we understand that ChatGPT isn't the answer to everything because we understand hallucinations. There's a bubble of people that will go to there and do that. The average person isn't subscribing to ChatGPT and using it. They're just not. The average person is definitely going to Google and searching.
Yeah, and I mean, the average person is using ChatGPT as a search engine.
Also,
like
That's true.
Thinking it's like results, and this is now like incorporating those results into Google itself. So they really are using ChatGPT as a search engine, thinking it is giving them actual like legitimate results, and it's scary.
So to Bobby's point, people don't have good reasoning skills. Generally, people are quite bad at this stuff. They see it as the top thing on there and they believe it. It's like going there, we talked about it before, Sarah. You go to Google and you look up something. The first 5 things there are like sponsored ads. The people who use it a lot, we just skip past it.
Right.
The average person doesn't. They click it. They click the ad. That's why the ad's there, because they click it.
People I know, my age and younger, will click those sponsored ads. And you're like, and I'll watch them do it. And I'm like, didn't you see that it said sponsored? Like, my husband did it with some tickets. He was buying Iron Maiden tickets, and like he's like, hey, I'm spending like this much money on Iron Maiden tickets. I was like, why? That is expensive. I'm like, and I go to Iron Maiden's website, I click the buy tickets. I'm like, they're like $100. What are you talking about? How are you spending $500 on tickets? And
he clicked the ad.
He clicked the ad. He's buying resale tickets. And I'm like, no, skip. Like, and just the regular people, and my husband's not an idiot. Like,
right. I'm not saying people are stupid. It's just we're just that's how we work. Top of page stuff is just does
Iron Maiden sell out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, Kevin, like, I think you made like a really good point. Is that because we live and breathe like the tech stuff, like we are in a bubble and we're like such a small percentage of people. And to extend that assumption on everybody else, like I'm very shocked, like to be like, oh man, that's literally exactly how things are. And I think there should be a greater education where it's not the people that are into tech know, because that's just something they can't avoid on a daily basis, but more for general public. Otherwise, like, it's going to lead to issues for sure.
I really believe that people need to start thinking that if you read it, you need to have a discernment that just says, I don't believe the first thing I read, especially if I'm looking for an
100%.
answer to something. You need to look around 3 or 4 different things and try to find a consensus. And that usually you can do that if you Google.
Yes.
But and the other thing I saw with the AI search is sometimes it does the other thing, which is like it takes both sides of the argument and says sometimes it's this way, sometimes it's that way, and you get this like oatmeal answer, like, okay, so I don't know, you don't know, so like we keep looking. Like sometimes I find the AI summary being just nonsense. Like
it can be, but I'm kind of okay with those answers. If it is a polarizing something that isn't decided upon and isn't fact, then giving me both sides is kind of where I want it to say versus taking a side.
Right.
Because what side does it take? Like, in terms of like, I don't know, in terms of anything, if there's two polarizing answers that one side believes is one way and one side believes another, like you have to go with what is the lie? Tell me both. And I'll then have to do the research. It shouldn't have an opinion. It shouldn't be an opinion engine.
Right.
Yeah, I was just saying that sometimes it was just like, okay, that didn't help me at all. Like I was just like,
right,
okay,
it's not helpful. I agreed, it's not helpful.
Like, that's what I meant by that. Like, okay,
yeah,
thanks.
Yeah.
That's like we'll just keep going. Let me look down here because usually you have to find 2 or 3 sources, and then you look at one on one side, one on the other, and then you can start figuring out what you believe. Now, some things like should I eat rocks? There's an answer, no. But there's just some common sense things. But you're right, though. I do meet people that really lack common sense. I was at a gas station yesterday, and this lady came up to me and says, "Where's the window washer cleaner? Like I can't find it anywhere." And I'm looking like right at it, like, did you look?
There.
It's right over there,
right next to the pump where it always is.
It's in the same place. So just people just don't. I don't know. They don't associate things well, or they lack critical thinking skills, and they'll just believe whatever you tell them.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Well, I think.
Go ahead.
So it brings me back like 10, 15 years maybe when there was a blogger or whatever that had a Facebook group or something. I'm trying to remember, but it was blowing up. And the reason it was blowing up was because it was like crockpot recipes, right? And they were just like giving crockpot recipes like in a really easy fashion where like I don't have to like search. I can just say like, hey, I'm looking for a crockpot recipe with chicken. And then like I get the recipe, right? And like I was telling my sister who's a food blogger, I'm like, this is the direction. They want to be just handed it. They don't want to like search for it. You see it in Facebook groups all the time, like where somebody asks the exact same question that like the previous 5 people have asked, and they don't search the group for that answer. They just want to ask their question and get the answer. Or like if you're in like a sales group or whatever, like, hey, I'm looking for like this, what you got? Like, why don't you look through all the sales posts and like find what you're looking for? But people are just doing that where they're just like, they want to be like spoon fed the information. And like, this is exactly what they're getting with these AI results. They're just getting spoon fed the information, even though it could be like wildly wrong, but that like, and this was like 15 years ago. So like people have gotten lazier since.
Well, what you're seeing today is what I call the GitHub Copilot craze, which everyone's saying that GitHub Copilot will make you a coder. And it won't. It just will never, ever, 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 ever make you a coder without knowing anything. You have to know what the answer is, and it's just like if you're looking for a crock pot recipe, will my husband like this one? Well, if you don't know what ingredients are, you have no idea. Right. What if he's allergic to cayenne pepper? Well, we shouldn't use that one. So like, like that one's not going to work for me. I need a different one. And so you have to be able to discern what you're looking for and have some kind of basis of knowledge in order to use AI. I don't think you should use AI and try to search for things you have no knowledge in, because it'll lie to you and it's just wrong.
Yeah.
Or just make stuff up. I mean, it really does.
So xAI, they raised $6 billion in VC money. That is B the billion. in VC money. One of the largest VC running rounds of all time. Which, bearing in mind, I looked back and I was like, well, if it's one of the largest, what's the largest? So the largest is actually like the Microsoft one, which was 14 billion or whatever it was, right? For OpenAI. If we'd have had this conversation maybe 8 months ago, 9 months ago, 12 months ago, whatever, these numbers for the largest VC rounds would have been in the hundreds of millions, like 100 and something million. We're now talking about 6 billion, 14 billion. So, and all of that money has all gone to AI. If you look at the top funding for everything now that's in the billions, every single one of them, including 2 massive rounds for Anthropic, are in the billions. That's the only thing anybody is investing in right now is AI. So they've managed to raise 6 billion.
Side note, could this picture of Elon Musk look any more smug? Like, is that even possible to look more smug than he looks?
It's a weird artistic choice, isn't it?
This
image.
Axios did it, so I don't know if Elon did this. So it could be an AI generated picture.
Here's the thing. I think
could be.
Sorry.
I think what he's doing is like, how could I get money from people that I could give to myself for my Twitter mistake I made? And then because now he's like, I got this money, and like whatever. Yeah, it's like interesting.
Yeah, so they raised 6 billion. He claims xAI is worth 24 billion, by the way, which, pinch of salt because it's Elon. I don't believe a word the guy says. So, 24 billion.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think someone would pay him 24 billion right now to buy it?
No, not in a million years. No,
to buy.
Because here's the thing:
just X,
just xAI. Yeah. He claims xAI is worth 24 billion. So some of the VC backers are the same people that backed OpenAI, by the way. So a lot of that VC money went to OpenAI. So it's the same people that are throwing their money at all these companies. Rumors are the money will go to build a supercomputer full of the NVIDIA H100s. They're talking about 100,000 H100 chips. That's where that money's going.
Wow.
So in one pocket, out the other pocket, straight to
Quickly,
NVIDIA.
before they
so
make
who's
that
the winner
purchase,
here?
go buy NVIDIA stocks.
NVIDIA. Yeah.
That's what I'm in, man. I'm telling you.
quickly go.
Yes.
Not
You did
financial
buy it
advice.
after our first segment about it.
Yeah, buy it again.
Product-wise so far, though, they only have Grok.
Yeah.
That's it. Which I don't know if you guys have used this. So we have it through Coder Foundry's Pro account that we have on, because the only place you can access this is through Twitter. You get it through Twitter for having a Pro account. We have the Pro account, or it is the Twitter Blue, whatever they call it these days, through Coder Foundry. So we do have it there. I've never actually gone and messed with it because the times that I have, I'm like, this sucks. It's just bad. It's a meme generator. He's literally said it's like, I forget what he called it, what the exact quote was, but basically it's like, it's the like off the hook version of ChatGPT. It's the one that like doesn't have rails. It's like, sure, Elon, that's great. It'll create weird memes for us. Great, well done. Some people think this is worth $6 billion. My thinking is that Grok isn't worth $6 billion. They must be working on something else that we just don't know. They have to be, because it can't be that. A bad chatbot? There's no way. It has to be something more. So, Sarah, what do you think? Do we think this money makes him compete with OpenAI or Anthropic or whoever's the other companies are? Can this compete? Is he going to have a good product here? And what does it look like?
Okay, so if it was in the hands of anybody else, maybe, right? But I don't trust Mr. Smugface here with $6 billion to make a quality product. First of all, his obsession with the letter X. I don't know what, but xAI, stop it. Just stop it with the letter X. I don't get it. It is his thing, and it's just the worst. Enough. Not everything in your life needs to be X, right?
It's because he didn't get his way with X before with PayPal, so he's proving a point. It's literally him proving a point. It's like, I am the richest person on the planet. I will call it what I like, and I like X.
Yeah, that's exactly. So that's why I'm saying, he is not stable enough to be like, oh yeah, this is what we should do with this product and make something to compete with OpenAI. He's gonna do whatever is in his little flight of fancy smug face, and it's gonna be terrible. And no, it's not gonna challenge OpenAI.
I'll offer one counter argument. I'm not the hugest Elon fan. I will say that he has launched rockets to space. He's done really well with that.
Hey, when you've got billions of dollars, you can do
so
that.
Many
Well, he's got
people drive
billions of dollars
Teslas.
again.
So many people drive Teslas. I'm
Teslas
saying.
are good electric cars.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Cybertruck. It's a good. You may not like it. You may not want to buy it.
Terrible
but,
looking.
yeah, whatever. But what I will say this is, I think larger question is, it's kind of weird that this race to get OpenAI is garnering $6 billion to build a computer. And the people that are over on the other side of this NVIDIA, like, yeah, this chip is $50,000. Next year, it's going to be $75,000 because when they have a 1,300 stock price and they announce earnings, they've got to make more money. So these chips can go up and up and up until either they stop buying them or someone else comes in and makes it a competitor.
Yeah, we need competition, no doubt.
But until you see that, $6 billion, they'll put 50 billion in a company. I mean, that's why I asked the question. I was like, I'm not so sure whether it's worth 24 billion or not. If he did sell it, would someone buy it? They might, Kevin. They just might do it. These guys are investing $6 billion into this, which is crazy numbers. People don't understand how much $6 billion is.
It's so much.
To build a computer that's going to be obsolete in 24 months.
Yeah.
100%. Supercomputers cycle so fast.
So fast.
It's unbelievable how obsolete they become.
Yeah. NASA sold theirs, and I saw the meme. It's yes, but will it run?
Crisis.
Will it run Crisis? And the answer was
Ultra.
no. It doesn't have a video processor.
That's so funny.
That's funny. Actually, cool fact. I have a piece of a supercomputer right here. Look, it's a RAM stick from the decommissioned John Glenn supercomputer that I got to see. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I worked at a Hive Supercomputer Center. And they gave these to staff.
Oh, so that's awesome.
I have number 1123 of 2000 RAM sticks. So
That's awesome, actually.
4 gig of RAM right there. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, a little memento.
4 gigs of RAM.
4 gigs of RAM. Things that you could do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The question is not whether Grok is bad or not bad. The question is, can they catch up to where these other guys are at? OpenAI seems to be the best at the development side of the chatbot side, if you compare it to Google or anybody else. But Perplexity is pretty interesting. They do things. Claude does things pretty nice. So I think they could probably get something pretty competitive here in this chatbot space. The question I've always asked about this is like, what else are they going to do? Like, are you going to pay $6 billion for a chatbot? That's the most expensive chatbot ever.
I don't think that's the case. I think it has to be something else. That $6 billion has to be, they have to have promised something else other than we'll just make the best chatbot.
Yeah,
no,
text generation
I think
can't
it's
be
just investment in infrastructure, because basically the people, there's two, people that think about AI, they think about like consuming the chatbot or the services that it creates, but those services wouldn't be possible if you have the trained data, which requires like all this preparation, all this work takes a long time to do, and you need the physical infrastructure to do that. So whoever has access to their own infrastructure will be the winner. And that's why I'm saying, and I've been saying forever, that for people like me to get into an AI space, I can't, because I can't even afford one, GPU from NVIDIA, let alone, 1,000,000 or 1,000 or how many you need. And that's what like Facebook is investing. It's building that infrastructure. So anybody who wants to be relevant, and I see a lot of these AI companies that are building great services, but when you talk to them, you're like, oh, what are you using under the hood? And then they're like, oh yeah, we're using one of the top 3 providers that, it's either Microsoft, like OpenAI, or like whoever. And it's just kind of interesting that some people were saying like, oh, invest in building a startup with AI. And somebody that I heard like a while back was saying, no, the person who's going to become the first trillionaire is the person that cracks the hardware side of creating more performant chips for AI.
That's NVIDIA. I mean,
right.
I know they're already there. Like, so what I think people need to understand was when people talk about they're scared of AI, they're saying it's going to replace all of human work. And when you look at the actions of these companies, what they're saying is different than how they're acting. They're saying, oh, this is going to be end of human labor, which Elon said this 2 weeks ago when he's talking about xAI. For some reason, they believe this is the best way to describe what we're doing. We're going to like consume all of the work, but they need to sell this $6 billion computer in access to an API to a lot of people. And so like they're building compute in order for other people to build apps on top of it. That's what OpenAI and Microsoft's doing. That's what Google's trying to do. And there's going to be some losers in this space. At this amount of build out, there's no way everyone's going to consume every one of these resources that have been built out. So we're going to see some winners and we're going to see some losers, but it's not going to replace human work.
Because if you have,
there's no way.
If you have no human work, that means you don't have a
no
paycheck.
one's buying the API.
If you don't have a paycheck, how are you making the pay for your monthly ChatGPT subscription?
Universal basic income, Paul. We know
That's
this.
never going to happen.
Basic
It's
income.
never going to happen.
But the income has to get generated from something. So like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, like I was talking to Kevin, when you talk about ending all of human work, and saying that we're just going to go home and someone's going to write a check, whoever that is, the world government,
for
whatever
what?
it is.
Yeah.
We can't even automate a McDonald's at this point. Like if you wanted to fully automate a McDonald's where we could go eat, because, you know, we're not allowed to plant crops. We're not allowed to shop. We're not allowed to do these things. We just sit at home and it comes to us. It's not possible without humans right now. And even if you could, how much would it cost to say
I think
no
that's the thing
people
for
work
me.
at McDonald's?
Yeah.
A McDonald's in Kernersville would probably be $100 million building. Like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. We're not doing that.
That's
We'll
a
just
lot
hire-
of technology. Yeah.
We'll hire 10 teenagers and we'll flip some burgers. I think we'll just do that. And I think that's what's going to happen when
That's
people
the thing. It's
realize.
technically possible, but it's monetarily not feasible. There's not enough money on the other end of it. $100 million investment in the building, which I agree with all the and all the AI and everything you need
Robots.
to do it's going to take an absolute fortune to put together. It's going to take you decades to recoup that. So what's the point when you can just get people and spend $15 an hour on them and pay them as you go? And it's like you've set up a $1 million thing. Like it's like literally 100 times less to get going, I'm sure.
The other irrational thing is people think that these robots, you just have to make them once and then they just run forever. Like they never have to be fixed or changed out parts or anything like that. You're going to need at least mechanics to fix the robots. I mean, like it's
Other
just
robots.
Well, and here's the funny thing is these are the same people who like complain about their PC breaking.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
Like you don't think that happens with like larger, more expensive
Listen,
technology?
Here's the
Yeah.
litmus test to see if your job is going to be replaced by AI. Once my grandmother's neighbor is able to have a robot come and fix her printer, then I'll be like, all right, this is it. Because I get that request. He's like, you're a developer. You could fix my printer. I'm like, how does that even make sense? I could fix it. It's like, please leave me alone. Funny.
Yeah, my T1000 would kill me, but he just can't get on the Wi-Fi. Can you help me out?
Yeah. The other day, my good friend Hashim put out this thread on Threads, or this post on Threads, and he highlighted a news article, which was the news article was from the New York Times. It says OpenAI says it has begun training a new flagship AI model, and he pointed out that here's what he said. He said, we're at the point of the AI hype cycle where even just the announcement of vaporware gets the full New York Times article. I still can't get GPT 4.0 to do all the things OpenAI said GPT 3.5 was capable of. So I thought it'd be a good time to like have a discussion around where do you guys think we are in the AI hype cycle? Where do we go from here? What innovations do you think are going to happen? Like, is GPT-5 the greatest thing since sliced bread? Is it going to be exponentially better than GPT-4, do you think? Like, where do you think we are? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I've thought about this a lot. What I think is going to happen, and this is me looking at how they rolled out 4.0. What I think you're seeing now is GT3.5 and those type of LLMs about text generation is kind of peak. It's like it does what it's supposed to do. They can improve it around the edges, maybe get slightly better. What they're trying to do now is they're going to make smaller models that do very specific things, and they do those things really well. The thing behind the scenes, what OpenAI here has done that's really cool is they have models that connect to other models, and it's seamless transition. So like when you take an image and you stick it in there, it can take that image, and before it would like decipher it, turn it into text, take the text into ChatGPT-3, turn around and say, oh, that's what it is. Now let's put that back to the image model. So now they can seamlessly hook these things together. And I think you're going to see AI infrastructure behind the scenes that connect different models that do these other things very well instead of one ginormous large model. I think they're making a mistake here by saying we're going to make a new, bigger, better 5-6 model. It's going to do the same kind of things it did before. I think they have to do this for stock price. They have to do this first. I think we reached peak on this. What I would say peak is like, can it get better? Yeah. But like, is it going to be AGI? That if it's at 90% of AGI, then that 10% is a really large 10%. You know, like what I always say, you know, that last inch on that foot's really hard to get to. So that's my goal, especially in coding. I think it can get better at it, but it's never gonna like do the promise of, hey, let me prompt in a whole website. It just isn't.
Right.
Well, and it reminds me, like you're saying the hype, like I think we're getting so inundated. It's just not exciting. So the perfect example is that Google I/O, like everything was AI, and you're just like, and
Yeah.
right, like
True. Yeah.
and like people don't understand what AI really is, what it does. Like, so they see these headlines like AI, like, yeah, I don't understand that. Like, it's just
True. We're not
like
as
you said,
amazed by it
vaporware, yeah.
anymore, are we? Yeah, we're not as
No.
amazed by it as we once were. And I would argue that I don't think any of the since GPT-3, I would say we've gone 3.5, 3.5 Turbo, 4, 4.0. I would say the growth between 3 to 4.0 where we are now, like 3 or 4 iterations, is nowhere near as wowing as the first 3.5 was. Or 3 was, sorry. 3 was like, wow, that's cool. While it is better, if you look back at it, you're going to say, oh, that is better. It's not exponentially better. It's not GPT-5 isn't going to be like the end of human like work. It's just not. It's not going to be that thing. But people do put that on it. People will, if you speak to people that say, wait till GPT-5, it's going to like, your job's done. We hear it all the time.
On YouTube, I hear it almost all the time. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about. Wait till 5 comes out. I'm waiting.
Wait till ChatGPT 78. Your job will be
78.
replaced by. Although I do want to take advantage of the hype and make some quick money. Like
there's
by
nothing wrong with that. I
selling
think you should if you can.
vaporware, because it seems like everybody's doing it. So here's my
100%.
hot idea.
Let's go.
Pitch me.
AI-powered shoelaces.
Okay.
And this is what they do. They're so smart, and I can't go into the details of how the technology works. Just know that it has
you don't give it
AI
away.
in them.
Yeah.
But don't you hate when you have like shoes that you tie? When you tie, they just feel tighter than normal, or sometimes they're not tight enough. So the super AI shoelaces that you could buy very easily. I have some right now in my back room. I already built it. I just want to unleash it on this podcast. 3 easy payments, $19.95. Very easy, whatever. AI powered, Sam Altman approved. When you tie your shoes with those shoelaces, it will always have the exact tension that makes your foot feel comfortable. AI powered, 100%, no lie. Like, amazing. I'm going to take orders.
Velcro.
Might not know for next week.
Give me your money. Give me your money.
Might not know for next week is Paul's shoelaces.
So what point are we at in this, Paul? Are we looking for sales, or are we like investing, or what's the?
No, I'm
are we
ready
getting
to
in
sell
early
them
here?
out.
Like,
I mean,
they're
like
ready?
I got
Okay.
boxes
It's a
of
product.
shoelaces, different colors. They look like regular shoelaces. Some people will say they function like regular shoelaces, but it does have an iPhone app that does random things that you think that connect to shoelaces, I guess. But whatever, it's AI powered shoelaces, not something I bought and relabeled, whatever. But once you tie them, you'll know the difference. Like when you jog, they get a little bit tighter. When you get home, they loosen up by the end of the day. Fantastic invention.
So with this said, Paul, do you think AI is in too many places? Is that what we're trying to say here?
Yes, 100%. People will try to stick AI where it doesn't belong. Like. So after the shoelaces, I'm probably going to make AI powered toilet paper. I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Imagine that.
I will say, it sounds like Paul has been watching a little too much Back to the Future Part 2, because Marty does have
those
shoes
awesome
that
shoes.
like automatically
Yes.
size
And just
his
for the
feet.
record, Nike did make those shoes,
Right.
A long
and they
time
do
ago.
actually work. But if you want to pick up a pair, they were so limited. As a sneakerhead, I am
sure.
aware of these. You can pay about $13,000 to get a pair in the aftermarket.
Listen,
They are very, very expensive.
I don't want to create a whole shoe. I just want to lie about the
Just the
shoelaces
lace.
that I bought at Walmart that have AI in them and resell them to you because it has AI in them. Wait,
Makes
did I
perfect
think
sense.
out loud by accident? That's not what I meant. Scratch it out. But no, I think the hype is crazy. Like they put AI everywhere. And I went to a toilet. I was visiting like Barcelona. And I swear to God, after I peed, it told me my hydration level. I was like, why did I need to know this? I felt like it's like one of these fancy future toilets you pay money. I was like, huh. And so that actually got me excited to like do various things and then go pee there again to see if it changes. So if it's complete BS, it's like you're about to die because you're dehydrated. But like, you know what I mean? It's
just
like,
for science.
Yeah,
just for science.
But there's here, I'll put a link. There's an interesting video that was on this channel where this guy basically talked about AI and diminishing returns. And so now there's a bunch of papers that are out there, well, one at least, but the data basically points that the more, processing power you throw at it, or the more stuff you do, we could share the link in the notes. We don't have to watch the whole thing. People could watch, but like basically says that the idea is that by putting more resources, by putting more, like doing more, giving more energy, doesn't mean it's going to increase it in the same way that it has been increasing it, like going from, exponentially. It's going to start to level out to a point where it's just going to be ridiculous.
Yep. I think that's the thing too. I believe that's the case too. I think we've kind of like, in terms of the technology for what this is, we've had the big wow moment, and we're not going to have very many more wow moments here with this. The next wow moment is going to be some other invention that isn't just this LLM. It's going to be something else. It's either implementation of it or some other version of it or something else that it does. Here's the thing. So, what do you guys think? Are LLMs the gateway to AGI or no?
No, it can't do it. That's impossible. Like it's not what it does. It's not. When they talk about AGI, they're talking about something else. It's not LLM.
But
it's always guessing. So it can't ever do it.
I was going to say the greatest accomplishment I've seen with AI, and I think I might have mentioned it before, and whoever did this is brilliant because they're literally marketing their AI company. But there's a Twitch channel for AI Jesus, and you're able to ask him or her questions.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Obviously.
Yeah. Which is insane.
That's so true.
And so we peaked. That's it. You can't get more than like AI powered Jesus with live chat.
Back to Paul's hydration point and the implementation of AI in everything. I remember back years ago when like tracking was everything. Like I've got a tracker for this and a tracker for that, and I'm tracking my hydration, I'm tracking all of this. And I made a joke like after CES one year, like, oh, someday we'll even have like tracking on my water bottle. And then like as a joke, but then I'm like, oh, that actually happened. There's like, oh, how many liters of water are you drinking today or whatever. So like we are to that point too, where like everything is about like tracking, but now everything is like AI included, and it's going to be AI Jesus. So.
I do think that they're going to mix the term of AI, just like they did with cloud. AI is everything. If it does a surge, it's AI.
Right.
And so you have to discern kind of what is it doing. But LLMs generating text, which is what they primarily do, that's kind of peak. It can generate images. I see there's room to get better there. I mean, obviously they've been improving that, but it's going to reach a point too where it's like that's about as good as it's going to get. Yeah. And the advancements will come slower. It'll get marginally better, maybe.
I think that's where we're there already. I think everything's marginally better right now.
Okay.
We weren't wowed by Google I/O, like Sarah said. It was just like, oh, more of the same. It's just like, okay, you bring these incremental things that we're just not wowed anymore by it. We're just like, it's the norm now. Little things, That's why I say we need a bigger invention to wow us again. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a bigger invention in AI. It's just not what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's not an LLM.
It's a T1000.
It's not an LLM.
Yeah, T1000.
Right. It's something else. Yeah.
Wow, and I do think there's other AI out there that fly planes and those kind of things. Route management for planes and vehicles, and what they're using in the military is different. They're not typing up.
Yeah, and we've had that for a while.
I want to bomb Iran. How can we accomplish that? Go take off. I don't think it's working like that, like people think it is.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more work to get it to follow routes and paths. It's a little different kind of decision matrix.
I'm pretty sure the government looked at the state of LLMs and they're like, nope, we can't use that.
Well, I mean, if we want to tell us all to eat rocks.
Yeah. But general question, how do you feel like to Sarah's point of having all these apps that constantly tracking what you're doing and constantly giving you your updates about your heart rate and everything else. Like
Good
imagine,
and bad.
in the future, it's tied to your insurance plan.
Right.
Well, that's true. That's the slippery
It is
slope part of
already.
it, right?
It is
Jesus
already.
Christ.
There are
It is.
like
This dystopian
your
world.
insurance. You can connect
Opt
like your
in.
Fitbit
Oh, yeah.
to and like you can get
Yep.
like a discount on
We-
your premium for
We
if
can with
you're
ours.
doing 10,000 steps a day.
we have that on our insurance. The thing
Yeah.
is, with me, it was like I can't remember what you got. It was you got something for
It's
it,
$1.
but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It
it's-
was what?
$1 per day or
A dollar.
something
Yeah,
like
it wasn't
that.
enough of an incentive. I just like I'm not I'm not that fussed. It was too much of a pain to actually hook it up and get it to work.
Yeah.
And I'm just like no, because it does work with the Apple Watch somehow, but it was some third party app and I didn't like it, and it didn't always like link, and you had to go manually push it, and I'm like no, I'm not.
Yeah.
For $1, and I'm not bothering.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is there. That's true. It's a slippery slope, right? Because it's this like we want this information ourselves, but in order to get it for ourselves, we have to give it to a third party. And that's the issue, right? It becomes down to like privacy, and we're giving everything away. I mean, look at what we talked about last week with Recall on Windows. It records everything you do on your PC, everything, every window, everything you do, it records it. Now, it says it's on machine, like it stays on machine, but for how long is that a thing until the next thing is, well, I want to switch machines, so I need to send it to the cloud to switch machine. Like, how private is private? We know it's not, right? It's not private. It's just not. Don't believe that it is, because it's not.
Windows. Whoever said to you that something stays on Windows is smoking crack. Windows,
It's just like
known
browser
for
history. They said that
recording
stays on your
everything.
machine. And yet every time someone gets arrested, they said, well, we went through their browser history and saw they looked how to make a bomb. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
how did we find that? Like,
Yeah, it's this false sense of security, isn't it? False sense of privacy, even. It's like, it
recorded.
doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And the more and more and more we want this information, and it's good for us and we want it and it's interesting, but again, you have to give it to a third party to get it. So it's slippery slope. I don't know. I love it, hate it. Okay, time of the week to talk about our recommendations then, our nulls and our not nulls. Bobby, you're in first in my list. You got anything this week?
okay, I'm on my fitness kick. And so what I just bought this week is a hydration pack from USWE. It allows you to carry water on your back instead of on a water bottle. And so when I'm training for a 100-mile race, and when you have one, you need to drink every hour
Wow.
while you're doing it. And a 100-mile race can take, anywhere from 6 to 10 hours if you're like me,
Wait.
old and slow. So like,
Wait,
that's
you
the
said
one I got
100
that way.
miles.
100 miles.
That's
It's
what he
cool.
said.
I'm racing from Utah into Fruitful or Grand Junction, Colorado.
Are you coming to Utah?
Yeah, I'll be there in May 24th, 2025. I'm training right now.
Oh, okay. Well, like right before your race, we'll have to like go to dinner or something. Can carb load.
Carb load. So one of the reason people don't finish is they feel like they can ride in the desert with drinking 1 or 2 water bottles when you need to consume 24 fluid ounces of water every hour.
Wow.
Well, and you know what? I was gonna say I'm gonna double that for you because you live at sea level
I know.
and I live at altitude. And altitude, like you will get sick if you are not acclimated. Like you need
I'll
to
be there a week before.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like super high, like carry that with you through the whole week before.
Yep.
Because
But
like
it's
altitude
somewhere
is
near
no joke.
Moab into
Okay.
Grand Junction, Colorado. You cross the state line. It's 100 miles across the desert, and that's what I'm training to do.
So I'm gonna go along with Bobby's health kick. And I have a null and a not null. It's the same thing. I both hate it and love it. And it is the keto diet. Like I'm not a fad diet person. I never have been. And I feel like I'm modifying it a bit. Like it's just like super low carb is what I'm doing. But like putting my body in ketosis. So I love it because like really my body feels amazing. Like I have an autoimmune disease. Like my stomach has never felt better. Like all of this stuff, like I feel like I'm getting amazing sleep. I mean, I'm a good sleeper anyway, but like it's even better and all of this stuff, but I hate eating it. It's the worst. So
And it's limiting.
it's very limiting. Like,
Yeah.
so I hate it, but like I have to keep reminding myself, like, I feel really good though.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I'm like very, very pre-diabetic. Like my doctor's like, you're gonna have diabetes tomorrow if you don't fix your, like, number one, you don't drop a little bit of weight, and you don't fix your sugar. So I do like the sugar test like daily, just to be like, oh, you shouldn't have ate that. But I recently went back on the keto diet for 3 reasons. Number one, when I eat keto, and obviously that diet's not for everybody, and you should definitely see a professional if you want advice.
And I'm only doing it temporarily. Like I'm not going to be on it for longer than like a month. But
for me, like it does like curb my appetite, so I eat like less, and I do feel like the benefits of it. But I'd be curious to ask you, like, because I also have autoimmune disease. Like, do you find it that it helps a lot, or?
Yeah, for sure. So like I've been on several rounds of prednisone. Because I have ulcerative colitis. I'm not shy to talk about it, but like, so I'm in pain a lot and like bleeding and things like that. So I get a shot of Humira every 8 weeks and things like that. But like, it still wasn't keeping it at bay. And so I kept having to go on these rounds of prednisone. And before I started like another round of prednisone, I was like, I'm just going to try this. Like I've gained a lot of weight from the prednisone. So I want to like see if this is going to help me a little bit. And my stomach feels great. And like everything feels amazing. And I'm like, well, this sucks.
It is restrictive.
I will say our diet probably causes or keeps us from most diseases we can get.
Yeah.
And I'm not the most healthy person on the planet, so don't. Know, if I stood up, you'd be amazed. I'm fat, but like I'm working on it. But I do know that if you can change your diet, you can get rid of a lot of things and problems in your life. Usually, it's usually something with you eat, and it makes sense when you think about it. That's what you absorb in your bloodstream and everything. And so, for me, chicken. Eat chicken.
Yeah, I've been eating a lot of chicken, eggs, and salad, like lettuce, spinach,
chicken and butter, steak and butter, salad and butter.
Right. I'm not the kind of person who's like gonna like put butter in things or like eat
butter in the coffee.
That's not me.
Delicious.
Like I don't check, like I don't try and hit like fat numbers, like fat intake numbers. I just try and hit the low carb grams.
Which
so it's like a modified keto. I'm not like fully on it, but like just I'm trying to hit between 20 and 30 grams of like carbs a day. And like if you look at like one thing, like one little thing of like a candy bar can have like 60 grams of carbs in it.
Too many.
Candy is bad. We don't have to Google that for that.
Right.
That's funny. Paul, what you got this week?
So I did already mention Perplexity. So here, I'll put a link to something else. It's called Pop.System76. It's Pop OS. It's a Linux distro, and Linux, with all the Windows things that are going on. So I'm going on this kick where I don't use Windows unless I actually have to, and that's usually play VR games. But basically, Pop OS has a great Linux distro. And what's awesome, like Linux is notorious for not supporting NVIDIA cards. So this company, they have their own driver that actually supports it right out of the box. So it makes it very easy to set up, and you have all your, NVIDIA stuff set up, and it's pretty nice. And so for anyone curious, and it's free, and it doesn't record your screen every day.
You've gone full nerd, Paul.
I am. I've been a full nerd. I made up.
No, but this is this. I mean, okay. When you start recommending, when you start recommending Linux distros, you've like passed. There's a threshold. That's it. There's a line. You've gone over that line.
And I've been here before because I remember one of the things like Linux users obsessed because there's like 1,000 different Linux distros and you just can't decide which one to use. So you do distro hopping. Yeah, I'm a nerd 1,000%. But I did it because I wanted to. I set up all the AI like stable diffusion, generate images like locally because I was like, I don't want to pay for Midjourney anymore. If I could just be a big nerd and do it myself.
Okay, I just have a null this week, and it is a new game. I don't know if you guys saw Hellblade 2 came out.
Oh, it's a null. I really wanted to believe.
I'm sorry to say. Sorry, Paul. I'm sorry to say.
Paul's so disappointed.
I am.
Everybody wanted to believe. This is a game that got announced back in 2019 as like people thought it was going to be an Xbox X launch, right? And it never came out until just. And they put it on Game Pass, which is always a sign that it's not going to go very well. So here's what I'll say. It looks great. It looks great. It's not that scary. It's really not.
That's
not.
pretty
It's not
scary. Things with multiple hands is always scary.
I say it looks scary, but it's actually not. It like looks visually amazing. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very, very cool. But it's very boring. It's the same. It's like it might as well be a walking simulator. Like you just walk around doing things. There's 2 or 3 mechanics you pick up that are just the same. I played like the first 2, maybe 3 hours of it over the weekend, and I'm like, yeah, I won't be back to that. I actually watched the review afterwards. I played the first couple of hours because I was like, oh, does it get better? Is it like, no. The review is basically like, it's the same for like 6 to 7 hours and then it ends. It's like, okay, I'm not going to waste any more time than I've already wasted into it. It's like, I wasn't particularly like thinking it was great for the part that I did play. I'm like, I'm just hoping it got better. It doesn't get better.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, yeah, looks great. Plays boring.
Just come to Destiny, man. I'm telling you.
The first game
Overpromise
was
and
amazing. First game was amazing.
Overpromise, underdeliver for this. Sorry, Paul. It's if you have Game Pass, though, it's on Game Pass, so you can
just try it out.
Go give it a shot for free. Yeah. I would never have bought this. So for me, it was like I got to play it. I guess I wasted 2 hours because I didn't particularly enjoy playing 2 hours.
So the Null is the game, but the not Null is Game Pass because you get to try.
Game Pass
is
definitely a not Null.
Yeah, the Game Pass is amazing. I was like,
Game Pass is so good. You're right. Game Pass is my not Null. Yeah, that's right. There's so much good stuff on here. For I don't remember what it costs now. It's not ridiculously expensive.
$24.
Yeah, something like that. You get the Game Pass Ultimate too, which gives you PC games as well. You get all these games. They come out like and they announced actually that Call of Duty, the next one for this year, because now they've been bought by Microsoft, is now going to be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So for first time ever. So that's cool.
I saw a guy that I follow on Microsoft saying that he played this game they didn't like, but it didn't matter because it was free on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So these people ripped him a new one and said, Game Pass isn't free, man. You didn't play the game for free.
True.
He was
True.
like,
It's not free.
No,
but
but here's the thing.
I know, it's like, guys, it's a subscription that he gets all of them for, so it didn't cost anything extra to play the game.
Yes.
Crazy
Semantics.
part. I remember people used to complain when they talked about these service monthly models for game stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know, whatever. Buying imagine you bought 2 games a month for $70 a piece.
Yeah, that's what
How
it costs now.
are you kidding me? This is like the smartest financial decision you could make in your life. Like,
Yes.
Destiny's way
is.
more than $70.
Yeah,
It is if you buy everything. Yeah.
It's $150.
Here's what's great about Game Pass too, though. You have cloud gaming as well. So the great thing about that is you can play a lot of Xbox games on your phone, on your iPad, and you can play them on the Quest 3. You can put them on a giant XL-size cinema screen in virtual reality, or actually in augmented reality in your room if you wanted to, and play all these Game Pass games with an Xbox controller. It's very, very cool. You basically mimics the giant TV, and it works on the cloud, so you're streaming it. Super low latency.
Nice.
Highly recommend. Okay, well, that's it for this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. A couple of things you can do. Let a friend know about the podcast. Leave us a rating and review somewhere, wherever you listen to this podcast. And you can also drop us an email. Where can they drop us an email to, Sarah?
The Not Null Podcast at AOL.com.
That's it. And we will see everybody next week.
I dreams, nothing's real. Rules, answers, how to build. Summaries off the wall. Eat rocks. Who call? Eat a rock. AI shock. Glue on pizza. What a crock. False info. Web streams. Crazy AI. Wild dreams. Eat a rock. Eat a rock. Eat a rock. Eat a rock. Search for truth, AI's mishaps, geologists laugh, logic gaps, sense not speed, answers we need. Eat a rock, AI shock, glue on pizza, what a crock, false info, web streams, crazy AI, wild dreams. Eat a rock, eat a rock, eat a rock, eat a rock. Search for truth, AI's mishaps, geologists laugh, logic Eat a rock. Eat a rock. Eat a rock.